What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you stopping by for the first time, if you see something that you like here today, please don't forget to subscribe at some point. Those of you stopping by that have been here before, welcome back to TLTG Reviews, my friends. Glad you came see me. So, something a little bit different today. Today I'm bringing you 10 of the most popular men's fragrances of all time, and whether or not I think they're still worth a purchase here in 2020. Stay tuned. So with this first one, it's kind of a date night staple. Very popular. The knock on it, it's been reformulated over the years and doesn't perform like it used to. From Yves Saint Laurent, La Nuit de l'Homme. So yes, it has been reformulated over time. 2010 to 2014 is the ideal batches from what I understand. This is a 2018 batch. But I gotta say, the cardamom is still ever so present. It still smells like La Nuit de l'Homme because it's La Nuit de l'Homme. Most popular fragrance on Fragrantica based on rating and amount of reviews. It's great. It really is. It always has been. It's not played out in any means. Is this one that you should still consider purchasing if you've yet to purchase it? Absolutely. In my opinion, this is still worth owning. This is still an easy date night grab that ladies enjoy. It's just what it is. It's sweet, spicy. It gets a little powdery. It's very seductive. It's La Nuit de l'Homme. And I believe even in 2020, it's still worth a buy. Next is the highest selling men's fragrance of all time. Often replicated and duplicated. Giorgio Armani, Acqua di Gio. You know, I have some childhood friends that still, to this day, this is what they wear, you know. And I get it. It's a great smell. It always has been. Very enjoyable, fresh, aquatic fragrance with a little floral touch to it. Woody dry down. Has a bit of a seduction for the DNA for being an aquatic, summer type, fresh fragrance. You know, that was what really blew up the popularity, was ladies loved how this smelled on a man. That was why it got so widely popular. 2020, it's been reformulated so many times, it doesn't perform like it used to. I still get decent performance, but do I think it's still worth a buy in 2020? That depends. If it's been your fragrance forever and ever, I get it. It's hard to break certain habits, but I would say go with Acqua di Gio Profumo. It's a bit more versatile. It's a bit more matured, and it goes in more seasons than just spring and summer, because this is a very fresh fragrance. Doesn't do that well in the cold, whereas Profumo does a lot better in the cold, and then even the other flankers are really good as well. But to keep that similar DNA, that similar scent profile, you would need to go with the Profumo. So in 2020, should you still buy Acqua di Gio? I'm gonna say no. Go with Acqua di Gio Profumo. Better performer, and just smells better in my opinion. Next is another one of those popular date night fragrances. I mean, there's people that wear it to work even. It's got a very seductive, sweet, ambery tobacco smell. It's very, very popular. It's spawned several flankers and even a higher concentration that smells the same, really and truly. It's from Dolce Gabanna. It's The One. This is the Eau de Toilette, the original. The Eau de Parfum tends to get all the hype behind it. Not really hype so much as it's the one everybody goes to, because this is known for not performing that well. The flankers are subpar for the most part. I haven't tried the one Royal Night and flankers like that, but I have tried the Eau de Parfum several times, and I get about what and what, maybe a little bit more with the Eau de Parfum, maybe an hour and a half longer. It's still very popular. This is another one just like La Nuit de l'Homme. This is an easy grab if you're going out to dinner or anything like that, because another one that women just enjoy thoroughly. That's what really makes these fragrances get so popular, is when women love the way they smell, guys buy bottles of them. And that's the case with Dolce Gabanna The One as well. Do I think it's still worth a buy in 2020? Even the Eau de Toilette? Yes. because I feel like it's a staple that everybody should have in their arsenal, or at least have tried at some point. Whether it's the Eau de Toilette or the Eau de Parfum, I would probably say if you're buying it for the first time, probably go with the Eau de Parfum, because you will get a little bit more performance out of it with the same scent. Basically, I mean, it's the same note breakdown, just a little bit higher oil concentration, so you get a little bit better performance. But should you buy Dolce Gabanna The One in 2020? I'm gonna say yes. Worth having. Next, this one's probably gonna remind you of your dad, your uncle, potentially your grandpa, depending on your age. It's Calvin Klein Eternity for men. The Eau de Toilette, the original. So very fougere. It's an aromatic fougere. And it smells as such. Very barbershop, very classic man. You know, this is a great daily driver. This is one that your dad's probably been wearing for a long time. I know it was my dad's signature scent, basically, in the latter years of his life. He was wearing this a lot. This bottle is very fond, nostalgic memories for me. But is the scent DNA still modern enough, or is it timeless enough to be worth looking at in 2020? Well, that's an interesting one, to be completely honest with you, because so many people tie their scent memory to it smelling like their dad. You got to really enjoy a fougere. This is a masculine matured fragrance. But last year, the Eau de Parfum came out that added more green qualities to it. That cypress note is really bright in it, and it performs a whole lot better. So do I think you should still purchase Eternity, the Eau de Toilette, in 2020? Probably not. The reason I say that, because the EDP is just that much better. I say in 2020, go after the Eau de Parfum. There's nothing wrong with the Eau de Toilette. It's a timeless fragrance. It still works today. That soapy lavender, the tonka bean, coumarin dry down, some herbaceous qualities throughout. It still works. It's very matured, but the Eau de Parfum is just that much better. So in 2020, don't get Eternity, the Eau de Toilette. Get Eternity, the Eau de Parfum. It's just a better fragrance for about the same price on the gray market. Next, this had its heyday as, you know, the clubbing king at a certain point. This is Paco Rabanne's 1 million. So this has been bitten by that reformulation bug, you know. Doesn't perform as it used to. Very sweet, mildly spicy fragrance. Seductive, extremely youthful. This is definitely geared towards the younger man. And it's been reformulated so much, and the day of the sweet fragrance has taken over so much since this fragrance, that in 2020, I get it if you're a fan of it. Hey, I got a bottle too. I don't wear it often because there's so many better sweet fragrances at this point, so many other sweet and spicy, similar scented options that perform better, that I say in 2020, go ahead and pass on 1 million from Paco Rabanne, because it's not about getting another version of it in its own line. It's because there's so many other similar scents with better performance for better money, you know, cheaper prices for the most part, that are available on the market. I mean, there is so many options, too many to even list. But if you're just a big fan of it, I get it. But in 2020, I say don't rebuy it, or if it's a first time thing, don't bother with it, because there's a lot of better options out there for less money that smell similar. So in 2020, steer clear of Paco Rabanne's 1 million. For as iconic as it is, it's just not worth it anymore. Now, speaking of Paco Rabanne, we're talking about Invictus. This is one that has not been bit by the reformulation bug from Paco Rabanne. This one still performs like a monster. Sweet aquatic. A lot of fragrance DNAs get modeled after the opening of this fragrance. You always hear, oh, that smells like Invictus. This smells like Invictus. Well, here is Invictus. That kind of hinders against it in this situation, because so many fragrances have an Invictus type of opening. But at the end of the day, to really smell Invictus, and I smell it floating in the air, it's so good. To really smell Invictus, you need to get Invictus and wear Invictus. And as a lot of you know, this is my favorite fragrance. This and Invictus Acqua are my two favorite fragrances. So I guess I can lean a little biased toward this, because I still say in 2020, this is still worth it. It's very youthful. You have to enjoy a very sweet fragrance because this is a sweet aquatic fragrance. It's got the bubblegum smell. It's the originator of the bubblegum smell. But in 2020, I still think it's worth it. You can have these for a much cheaper price than they used to be. You can find them all over online in the 40s, you know, 40 some odd dollar range, testers and stuff like that. It's a good buy if you like a good sweet fragrance. And I say in 2020, it's still worth it to get your hands on Invictus from Paco Rabanne. Next, this got dubbed the king by so many because there's a lot of people that swear by this. And you know what? If you have the money to spend on it, it is a really good fragrance. Creed Aventus. You know, but I will say there's so many inspired by and clones of this DNA, of this fragrance, that maybe it's not so worth it like it used to be. Because from what I'm hearing, the batches are getting weaker and weaker and weaker as time goes on. I haven't tried any of the 2020 batches. This is a 19S11 batch. And it's nothing like they spoke of with the 2016 and prior batches. You know, those were Grail type batches from what they say. So much stronger, so much more potent, 2 spray, 3 spray fragrance. I can go 7 or 8 sprays with this, no problem. Because it's not as strong as they used to be. And from what I understand, they're even weaker now. I haven't tried, like I said, I haven't tried any batches aside from the 19S11. So I can't say whether that's true or not. But for what you're going to pay, retail in 2020, that's not worth it. Gray market, Venba Fragrances linked below. You can get it around $249 before the $5 off coupon. If you have the money, yes. But do your research on your batches because believe it or not, that stuff kind of matters when it comes to this fragrance. But if you're on a budget and you don't have the money to spend, that's fine. Yes, steer clear of Creed Aventus because there's a lot of good options that smell close enough to Creed Aventus. In 2020, I say steer away from it unless you just have the money to spend and you're just, you know, niche is your thing. Then by all means, get yourself a bottle of Creed Aventus. But if you're on a budget, steer clear of this in 2020. It's not worth it at that point. Next, this is another one that can make you think of your dad in a sense, but I still think even to this day, however many, 30 years later, 30 some odd years later, Cool Water from Davidoff is still worth having because you can get a big bottle like this, a 4.2 ounce for around 20 bucks. It's still a decent performer and it just smells like a more aquatic version of Green Irish Tweed. It doesn't smell exactly like Green Irish Tweed, but it gives you a similar vibe, similar scent profile, but much more aquatic. This is an aquatic take on it, and it's so much cheaper. It's a staple in everyone's collection. It's one worth owning. Even getting the little 1.35 ounce bottles, you can get those super cheap most of the time. You can find them on clearance at places for $8. This is worth having in your scent wardrobe. It's just a timeless classic. It never gets old. Not everybody wears it all the time, so you're not going to smell exactly like the guy standing next to you. And in the summertime, it's pretty hard to beat. I say in 2020, Davidoff Cool Water, the original, still worth owning, and in my opinion, a must-have staple in anyone's collection that's starting a collection. This is a good place to start because it's cheap, it performs, and it smells really good. So I say check it out in 2020. Next, very popular fragrance from Dolce Gabbana. Yes, we're going back to the house of Dolce Gabbana. The whole thing behind this is the old bottles were so much more powerful. Talking about Dolce Gabbana Pour Homme. The old bottles had a sticker that said Dolce Gabbana Pour Homme instead of the print on the bottle like you see here. This is a very aromatic barbershop gentleman style fragrance with a nice dry tobacco dry down. Very, very beautiful scent. Very gentlemanly. Smells great. Fantastic daily driver type of stuff. Just grab and go, where to work, where to dinner. You can do a lot of things with this. Very versatile. Works well in many seasons and many situations. Climate controlled environment. This can be a staple in your collection. This can be the one fragrance. You know, even in 2020, I say Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme is worth owning. If you're looking for that one fragrance that fills all the roles that I just named, I think it still does the job. Even though it doesn't perform as well as it used to, I still get about 7 hours on my skin until it fades away. And I mean, that's all you really need at the end of the day, because most people's work days in a climate controlled environment are in that 8-hour range. So this will definitely do the trick. This is a great work fragrance, great versatile fragrance, very gentlemanly, not sweet, not youthful, not overly mature. Any age can rock it. I say in 2020, it's still worth getting a bottle of Dolce Gabanna Pour Homme. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Last, one of my personal favorites that, because I have so many, it tends to not get worn that much anymore, but I do have a big old bottle because I don't like running out of this. I've had a few bottles over the years. It's from Hugo Boss. It's the original Boss bottled, Boss number 6. The apple pie vibe, that sharp woodiness, the cinnamon. It's a very good fragrance. It's very familiar DNA. It's been around for a long time now. It doesn't perform as well as it used to, but they have an eau de parfum to solve that. God, it's such a good smell. It's very versatile. It's multi-seasoned. Any age can wear it, no problem. Any age can wear anything, but this doesn't smell matured or youthful. This is just this is versatility right here with Boss Bottled. You can wear it to work, wear it to dinner, wear it casually. It doesn't matter. This fragrance does a great job with all of those things. They're cheap. You can get 100 ml testers in the mid-20s all over online. Regular 100 ml full presentations for under 30. You know, there's so many bottles out there. It's sold so many bottles. It's been around so long. It's really hard to beat. I say in 2020, it's still worth owning. If you still haven't tried Boss Bottled, get yourself a bottle. You're not going to break the bank doing it. You might end up making it your signature scent, because this is a signature scent worthy fragrance. It's great for many situations, just like Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme is. This is a great fragrance. In 2020, get yourself a bottle of Boss Bottled, Boss number 6 if you haven't already, and it's your first time trying it. You might fall in love with it. Well, that's the 10 I picked, guys. Now, I know there's a lot that could have been on here. Jean Paul Gaultier Le Male. Jesus Christ, I don't have any more off the top of my head. I know there's a lot. There's a lot that could have went here. Issey Miyake Pour Homme, so on and so forth. They didn't make it because I don't have them, or I just felt like these were more important to discuss. So don't get upset if your favorite wasn't on here. I may not have it. You know, that's just the way it works. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. You know, something a little bit different, but not too far from the norm. I figured we'd discuss these and give you my thoughts on, do I feel like they're worth it this day and age? Because at one time they were super popular, and they still are for the most part. Is it still worth it? Yes or no? And you got my thoughts on these 10. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of them, you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.